There are winners and there are losers, and that's that's just how it is. And if you're not one, then you're probably the other, because if everybody crosses the finish line at the same time, then guess what? Then nobody's a winner. And there's that's just that's does it's not how it works, unfortunately, right? It's necessary to have winners and it's necessary to have losers. What up? Welcome back to the Hype Mind. Glad you're joining us again. I'm Bear, and I'm glad that you're hopping on for this episode because this one's really good. This is important to realize. One of my favorite lines is, "The world only sees you succeed or fail," right? And like that sucks to hear. That really sucks to hear. That sucks to think about. It sounds really lousy, but that's the reality, right? They don't see your excuses. They don't they don't see the hardship. They don't see the process. They just see you cross the finish line or they see you fail to cross the finish line, right? And just like that, the reality is, in this world, you're either crossing the finish line first or you're not, right? Because everybody doesn't cross the finish line at the same time. Everybody's different. Some people work harder, some people train harder, and some people earn, you know, that finish line fair and square, and other people don't. But what I'm getting at is there are winners and there are losers, and you have to ask yourself. You have to be very real. Which group are you in? Right? Which group are you in? Are you a winner or are you a loser? And where do you want to be? Where do you actually want to be? What are you what are you doing with your life? What actions are you taking? Right? Because you can look at your actions and realize exactly what you want to be. If you want to be a winner, you're going to act like a winner. You're going to think like a winner. You're going to work like a winner. You're going to train like a winner. You're going to accept, adopt, and discipline yourself with habits that are winning habits that result in you accomplishing things. And you are going to compete. Very key. You are going to compete like you're a winner, right? Even if you don't cross the finish line first, you're going to play the game and you're going to do the training and you're going to actually put your foot in the competition like winner. You're going to show up to the race for one, right? Because the people who don't win the race are the people who don't show up. The people who don't win the race are the people who don't cross the finish line first. And so, where are you? Where are you? Um, so how do you become a winner? How do you stop being a loser? Well, we've already touched on that. You need to show up. You need to show up, right? You need to do everything in your power to bring yourself into a winning situation, right? And that starts with mindset. That starts with telling yourself you can win. That starts with disciplining yourself, right? That starts with shutting off and cutting out the things don't bring you closer to winning, like eating bad food and not working out and not training hard and not reading good literature and not studying and not achieving your goals and treating people poorly and having a poor attitude. Like all these things result in furthering your placement as a loser. So you need to cut that stuff out of your life. Um, Not saying that's going to be easy. And anything worth doing isn't easy. Everything worth doing requires work, and it probably requires pain, and it will most definitely at some point require suffering of some form or another, even if it's short term. Um, Cardio is something I've always hated. I hate cardio, right? But the first thing I have to do is stop telling myself I hate cardio. Stop telling myself I hate cardio. Show up, suck the pain up, even if it's for a short time, even if the cardio I do, right? Because this is how I manage my workouts, especially when it's something that I don't find pleasure in, right? Because everything you do, you don't have to find pleasure in everything you do. But personally, I want to become a better person. And one of those areas is I need to have stamina, right? I need to be able to walk up the street in an emergency or run up the street in an emergency because there's people who can run faster than me, right? There's people who are able to get from point A to point B faster than me. And because of that, they get the prize, whatever that prize is. You know, it doesn't matter what it is, picture, whatever it is you want, someone's running faster than you, right? So you need these things, right? So, I've always understood the importance of working out, and cardio is something that, just like there's something you struggle with, cardio is something that I never was a fan of, right? But the first thing I had to do is change my mindset about it. Um, and I had to push myself and accept that suffering and pain was going to exist in that process, right? And that's another big part of it. How do you stop being a loser? You need to take action. You need to act. Life happens to you when you move, right? Stagnation is what's going to make you a loser, right? Sitting on your butt and playing video games or beating off or staring at your phone or ignoring people or not going out and socializing, stagnation is going to make you a loser. There are very few people who do well in life sitting on their butt, like so few that it is not worth your time doing. Success, it requires action. Um, Accomplishing things requires action, and being a winner requires action. Like I said, we got that metaphor of the race. The person who wins the race is the person who runs the fastest. They crossed the finish line first, right? And they took the most action, most likely, typically, in their training. They trained before the race. They took all the steps during the race that were necessary. They studied running, right? And they made it across the finish line first. But like I said, there are winners and there are losers, and there has to be, because you can't have winners if you don't have losers. Just like I said in the beginning, if everybody crosses the finish line at first, at the same time, then everybody gets first place. And if everybody has first place, then first place doesn't exist. It's gone. It's irrelevant, right? Because now everybody's average, because the average happens to be everybody crossing the finish line at the same time. And so nobody won, right? There's no record time. There's nobody breaking the ribbon first. There's nobody crossing that finish line last. Um, and one, that's just not how the world works. And two, that's it. There are winners and there are losers, and you are a part of one of those groups. And you need to want it. You need to want it, or you need to fake it till you make it and pretend you want it. And you need to change that mental attitude, that mindset. I love the word attitude. It really does start with attitude. Changing your story, changing the story you're telling yourself, changing your mindset, and changing your attitude towards life, um, and taking action. Right, taking action. Oh my gosh, you know, I did a video recently about emotion. Right, you wake up and you don't feel like getting out of bed. I get it. I know how that is. But you get out of bed anyway. You take the action of getting out of bed anyway, regardless. Right, you exemplify discipline. You change your attitude in that moment and say, you know what, I need to get out of bed. I don't care how I feel right now. I don't care if I know I feel like staying in bed. I'm gonna get out of bed anyway. Getting out of bed is a good thing. I will be happier if I get out of bed. Whatever it is, right? Changing your story. I need to get out of bed. And taking that action, right? And then you really enter that competition. Once you take that action, you're able to do things like form habits, right? You're able to take further action by eliminating those bad things and adding more of those good things, changing the people you hang around and adding more good people into your life, people who are better runners, know a lot about running, know a lot about fitness, know a lot about taking care of their bodies, know a lot about flexibility and stretching and all this stuff, know a lot about training. Um, you add those good habits in, you study, you do the work, you exercise your mind, you keep the blood flowing in your body, right? Because your brain needs oxygen, needs blood, and your performance improves as a result of that. So you take the action and then you further that action by adding good habits and adding an exercise routine and practicing things that improve your discipline um, and really getting in that competition, right? Little by little, oh my gosh, maybe I'm going to start by running this distance and then this distance and then this distance, and I'm going to run 5 days a week and then 7 days a week, and then I'm going to run this many miles every day. And next thing you know, you're competing with the best of the best, and now you're no longer a loser, you're a winner, right? And that's it, right? The journey of 1,000 steps starts with a step, a single step. And that's so true. And it sounds so overwhelming, but that's it, folks. It starts with one step, right? And that first step is identifying that you're a loser and admitting it, admitting that's what you are. It's fine, right? Some of the greatest minds, some of the greatest people, some of the greatest athletes have started at the very bottom, right? Michael Jordan, Tony Robbins, man, name one, right? It's the people who are on the very top, genuinely on the top, who usually started at the very bottom. And so it's absolutely possible for you, right? And maybe that's your first step. Maybe your first step isn't admitting that you are a loser. Maybe your first step is just admitting that you can be a winner, right? And maybe you're already a winner. Who knows? Maybe you already are. But you know what? Then you know what your step is to become successful, even more successful in that area or in more areas. And so, yeah, it's up to you. It's your choice, right? That's what free will is. It's your choice. But you know the truth in your heart. In your heart, you know if you're doing what you need to be doing in your life. And if you're really in the game, really in the competition, really challenging yourself, really pushing your edge, really becoming a better version of yourself. And so that's it. Do you want to be a loser? Because losers are necessary. There's always going to be room for them, and there will always be losers. And if that's where you want to be, stay there. But I think the truth with most people is they don't want to be that, right? They just have to find the I don't want to be that, the I want to be a winner in them, and let that mind dominate them over the other, lazy, loser, uh, slothful, complacent individual, right? Because you can get rid of those. So be a winner, take action, do it now. Thanks for watching. Peace.